Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar, and happy Friday, everybody. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the evolution of Minibots of the Masterpiece realm. And with Tuesday's video talking about Fans Toys Rig, there was a lot of conversation about price. Are Minibots worth $100? The new one's coming out today. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about price. We're going to talk about this and more coming up. So looking back at the early 1984 G1 era, Hasbro was really smart to develop the characters of the Minibots, get kids invested in these $2 toys. There's a lot of people that have a lot of fond memories of Bumblebee, the character, and Bumblebee, the action figure, and it all worked out great because it was a cheap entry-level figure. Starting out a collection, or even starting out a toy line, kids getting interested in the show and having several figures from that show to kind of play out a scenario was really smart. This is like $2 figures, around the same price as the G.I. Joe figures, and in some cases up to $4 a figure. But then you say, I've got a few of these, I'm ready for that $25 Optimus Prime. So that really did work. It was genius on their behalf. Just like having Trouble Bubbles, Fangs, and other small, cheap vehicles in the G.I. Joe line. Fast forward to the distant future, you had companies like iGear start putting out figures that are sort of Chug Plus. So mainline plus. Chug is another term we use for mainline, which is kind of funny because why don't we add on Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom and make that a longer acronym? So iGear was one of the first to make these Minibots, but the thing is, they were too small to truly be considered masterpiece. But a lot of people use them for fillers, and I know that I was one of those. They were definitely bigger and more articulated and better looking than the original G1 figures, but they still were inspired by the figure with a little bit of a cartoon accuracy, more of a toy inspiration with an updated modern design. Somewhere in there was this Survivalist. I don't even know the company that made it, but I know it's called Survivalist, so that's how I found it. And I actually have one of these. It was used and it was loose, so I don't have a lot of information about it. Maybe I should do a video about it, but I keep wanting to talk about it because it's goofy. It's one of those oddball things. It's the only other third-party wheelie out there that really fits on a Masterpiece shelf. Bad Cube really is known for their Minibots, and it's one of the things that Bad Cube probably did best was target the Minibots that nobody was making. See, nobody made Grump yet. There's not another Masterpiece Grump aside from the iGear one, the iGear Gears, but that doesn't compare to what Bad Cube did here. Now, I had a theory, and I shared it before, but I think that theory is getting shattered, actually. And if you look right here, you can see that they've got some pre-orders up for Brawny, and I didn't think they'd make that. I didn't think that they would reissue a figure once Fans Toys has made it. That was my theory all along. But yet Fans Toys has made their Hunk, and Hunk has come and gone. I think it's sold out at most places. So I guess timing is everything. You can get our $72, $73 Brawny, or you can pay aftermarket prices to get the Fans Toys. But look at all these options, all the things that they've made, and they keep reissuing them. I thought they wouldn't reissue them after Fans Toys, but I guess I see why. Still doesn't change the fact that most of their options were the best option while they were in the market, and currently Gears is still the best one out there. And I also think that since Bad Cube is still reissuing their old figures, kind of gives me hope that we might get a new figure that I would want. They're kind of spreading off and doing their own thing and making up their own characters, but I would like to see another G1 character representation like the good old days. Now, X-Transbot started to spread their wings and get into the good old Minibot world, and I think they did a pretty good job overall. So still, some of their figures were the best, are the best still to this day, until of course somebody else beats them like Fans Toys attempts to. So looking at this, they still have the best Cosmos. We're going to look at some Cosmos comparisons, and looking at that, their glider was okay. Their glider is what we call Power Glide, and they still have their boost and hatch and those. So still with that, they had a decent showing, and they still hold up more or less today. But some of theirs don't age well, like their Huffer and their pipes. So Toy World threw their hat in the ring also. They made this one here. This is their version of Sea Spray. They call it Wave Break, and the all mode wasn't very great. So in the bot mode, this actually matched the on-screen Sea Spray better than Fans Toys Spindrift 1.0 and better than anything else out on the market at the time. And it was only like 40 bucks. So it was priced right. It was a very good figure for the time. And still to this day, it's not really that bad. There's just some better options out there. They also threw their hat in the ring with a Cosmos. Now, this is called Space Racer, but this is the transparent version. And it was funny because when I was buying Cosmos, I couldn't find their standard one anywhere, but the clear one was showing up everywhere for dirt cheap. But I never bought it. I finally found a decent price standard one, but it's still a pretty good figure. Toy World also made a Bumblebee and named it kind of a cool name, BII. So interesting that they did that. It's not the greatest Bumblebee in the world, but it's not horrible from what I hear. I never owned it. I never picked this one up. They also made a blue one, a metallic version one. I'm surprised they didn't make a Cliff Jumper, and if they did, I just kind of never saw it. So there are some other companies that threw their hat in the ring here, and so I'm going to try to cover those in some comparisons here, but you can kind of see with the Huffer. So in the Huffer, we have a few different options here. On the right, you see X-Transbots, and you got Cubex. Now, Bad Cube started out as Cubex, and then they ended up doing a 2.0 of their Huffer to become Bad Cube, which the 2.0 is a lot better. And they had quality issues, design issues with the Cubex. Although it wasn't a bad, horrible figure, it was fragile and it didn't stand very well and paint chipping. So at the end of the day, the Cubex was the best one for a little while. But anyway, moving on. Final Victory is even not that bad. But now we've got a new, is it a king in town or just a new competitor? So I'm just going to insert over the Cubex, the Fans Toys. So you can kind of get an idea here what they all look like. And I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on Huffer. You got to watch my review to know my thoughts on Fans Toys Huffer, whether I like it or not. But looking at all these are the options that we have right now. Getting into Warpath. And I'm sorry about the resolution on this. This is terrible resolution on this picture here, so we're going to move through it real quick. But Bad Cubes was kind of big and bulky. Fans Toys was slimmer. A lot of people felt like it didn't quite match the animation as much. And then Final Victory is a decent one that's out there. It's not horrible, but for 30 bucks, I mean, Final Victory I think is a great option for a budget, and I'm glad that it's made. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad there's an option there. And Bad Cube, to me, I had it. It was just big. In my opinion, a little bit too big and bulky, but it wasn't a horrible figure. And a lot of people complain about that transformation, and it's not that bad. But Fans Toys, I think, is still the win right here. Again, another low-res picture. I don't know why my pictures are so low-res today. But anyway, looking at this one here with Braun, on the left, you got the Fans Toys, and then you got the cartoon, and then you have Final Victory, and then Bad Cube. And just kind of digitized look at this. But looking at all of them, I still kind of like the Fans Toys the most. And it's not perfect. It has its issues. But overall, I like it the most. And then second most, I actually kind of like Final Victory. All right, let's see something clear for a second here. So we've got a Cosmos comparison. And so with this, X-Transbots is the second one here. Because the first one is a cartoon model. So we can see if it matches. Which I think is a kind of a terrible design, cartoon-wise. And so if someone took liberties, one of these companies took liberties to change one of the modes a little bit, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But X-Transbots, then we've got Toy World, which kind of already looked at the clear version. And then we have MMC. Now, MMC threw their hat in the ring in there, and it's not a bad one, and it is a little bit stylized. So it doesn't match the cartoon 100%. And here's the way I look at it. All three are decent options. I have handled each one of these, and I've transformed each one of these, and each one of these has pluses and minuses. So they're almost equal. X-Transbots edges it out just a little bit with the paint, and it feels like a solid figure, and it matches the character and everything. So it is a little bit better than the rest, but not much. Next we get into Ollie, and this is X-Transbots version. And I gotta say, this is the best looking Wheelie. I have not seen another Transformer in the Masterpiece realm get more hate than this figure. I'm seriously, this gets more hate than any other figure out there, and yet continues to do a 4th and 5th production run and completely sell out, which is amazing that how many people hate this thing, yet people keep buying it because it looks that good. It looks amazing. I had a version 1 and it was a little floppy, but I could still get by on the shelf. I've got the version 3 and it seems to be tightened up and everything seems to be fixed. But people say they have problems with their version 3, and I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to say that they're lying or making it up, because I've had problems with my figures that other people did not. So comparing it to the survivalist on the right and on the left is eye gear, and which eye gear is really not part of the conversation, but I just figured it'd be fun to throw it in there and show it. But with that, the survivalist actually is a KO of another one. It's like a KO oversized and changed a bit to look more cartoon accurate than whatever the first smaller one was. So again, I don't know all of the details about that figure, but looking at them side by side, X-Transbot still wins this one. Speaking of X-Transbots wins this one, the Sea Spray War has, well, I guess it's over now. I mean, the hype's over on that. So with this, I thought Toy World was the best. And there were a couple of other options out there, I guess. But putting all those aside, these are the three we're going to compare because these are the best options, in my opinion, that are out there. So then you've got the X-Transbots. Now, the X-Transbots one's a little slimmer and a little bit more heroic looking, and I'm okay if a company takes some liberties to make it look that good. Just look at it, I think it looks good. And then you get the Fans Toys, which this is just kind of, in my opinion, this was a waste of time for Fans Toys. They wasted a slot. Theirs wasn't the greatest in the world, they're 1.0, so let's not do these 2.0s unless it's really going to help the community. Some people love this figure. Some people think it was a great idea. But then again, we could have gotten Chomp a year earlier. Maybe. Okay, so talking about Fans Toys and getting into this, Fans Toys is really doubling down on the Minibots. Well, they're kind of doubling down on everything right now, but with the Minibots, they're coming out with their Power Glide. Now, I missed the pre-order on this. I'm sure I'm going to get it when it comes out. It'll probably linger for a while. And part of it is because these are all replacement items that they're making. And will this truly replace the DX9? A lot of people like the DX9, and the feet on DX9 in this picture are not properly transformed. You fold those over and around the feet. I guess there's two options if you want for the feet, but I think it looks better if you fold those around your feet and don't have huge chins. But anyway, looking at them side by side, I don't think Fans Toys is just a hands-down win over DX9. I think DX9 already did a really good job, and the alt mode is pretty decent. So overall, I think it looks pretty good with what DX9 did. Is it worth 120, 109, whatever this thing's going to cost when it comes out? Who knows? Maybe you're going to like the alt mode better, and the alt mode makes it worth it. Maybe the diecast makes it worth it. Maybe the paint makes it worth it. But the thing about this is we start to get into Minibots for $100, and is it worth it? And is it worth it to you? And is that character worth it to you? So looking at this, they're going to come out with their own gears. So Fans Toys gears on the left, and then we have on the right Grump from Bad Cube. Is it worth upgrading? Is it worth upgrading from the Bad Cube gears and spending another $120 when you got the gears for like 60 and you already have it? And you know, some people might say yes. Some people might say yes, it's much better, it's that much better, and it's worth a while, and then maybe you can sell your gears for $50 or something, get some money back. Who knows? But is it truly worth it? Is the character worth it to you? And is it that much better looking? Is the aesthetic that much better? Is it the paint, the die-cast, the weight, the quality, the hardware, and all that? That's up to you. They also have their pipes coming down the pipeline eventually. So that's another figure that, now, I don't know if everybody out there has already got this character. And again, if you have it, is it a big enough character for you to want to drop 120 or 130 by the time it's that time? By the time this is released? I don't know. I don't know how many people are really that excited for this character for that price if they already have one. Same with their Diverge, their take on Swerve. So that's another one out there that I actually have a third-party version. I don't know if I need it or not, but still, it's a cool-looking figure, a cool-looking design, and it's kind of obvious they're going to do it. They're also doing an Outback. Lastly, but not leastly, we've got the Cliffjumper, which is inevitably going to be a Bumblebee. So that is on the plate for Fans Toys. And looking at this side by side with what we're expecting to get from Takara, I, for one, liked the Bumblebee mold, the Bumblebee 2.0, as the best one that's out there right now. It's not perfect, but it's the best one that's out there right now. I do think Fans Toys has the ability to beat that, and with this, that's pretty much all I got to say. I mean, looking at it side by side, I do look forward to the parkour, and I do look forward to seeing what they do with the Bumblebee. So, and Fans Toys is going sort of the tune route on the alt mode too, so that looks kind of good. So there's a lot of things to look forward to in the Minibot realm, but at the end of the day, is it worth $100 for a Minibot for you? If you already have a version. Maybe if you don't have one, it could be worth 100, but then other options out there are going to be cheaper. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hanger out.